It was a sunny Saturday morning when my friends and I decided to visit the local history museum. We had heard great things about their new exhibit on ancient Egypt and were excited to check it out. When we arrived at the museum, there was already a line out the door. I guess we weren't the only ones eager to see the new Egypt exhibit. We patiently waited in line, chatting excitedly about what we might see inside. After about 15 minutes, we finally made it to the front of the line. We paid for our tickets and entered the main lobby of the museum. Right away, we were impressed by the grand architecture. High ceilings with beautiful murals, marble floors that shone brightly, and intricate details carved into the walls and columns made it feel like we were stepping into a palace. We picked up a museum map and brochure, and decided to start our visit by exploring some of the other exhibits before heading to the main Egypt one. We wandered through hallways filled with fascinating artifacts and informational plaques that brought history to life. In one exhibit, we learned all about the pioneers who first settled in our area back in the 1800s. It was incredible to see the functional yet rustic tools and household items they used and wore. It really made us appreciate how convenient modern life is today. Next, we explored an exhibit on Native American culture and artifacts. There were incredibly woven baskets, beadwork, arrows and spears, and even a full-size teepee you could go inside. The exhibit gave insights into how local tribes lived off the land hundreds of years ago. After taking our time wandering through various exhibits, we finally made our way to the new Egypt section we had been so excited about. And it certainly lived up to our expectations. Walking in, we were immediately dwarfed by towering statues of pharaohs and ancient gods. Hieroglyphics and scenes of everyday life covered the walls. Jewelry, pottery, sarcophagi, and other artifacts from ancient tombs filled display cases. One area of the exhibit replicated the inside of a pyramid tomb, with its narrow corridors and hidden chambers. The amount of effort and craftsmanship that went into building these monumental tombs for Egypt's kings and queens was simply astonishing. My favorite part was the mummy case room. Here, there were a dozen actual mummies inside their decorated sarcophagi. It sent chills down my spine to be standing so close to the preserved bodies of people who lived and died thousands of years ago. We must have spent over an hour exploring the Egypt exhibit, taking in all its wonders. But eventually, our stomachs started grumbling and we needed a lunch break. The museum had a nice outdoor courtyard with tables perfect for having a snack or light meal. We sat down with the sandwiches we had packed and talked excitedly about everything we had seen so far. It was the perfect spot to take a quick break before hitting the rest of the museum. After lunch, we still had a whole other wing of the museum to explore. This section focused more on art, culture, and technology throughout history. We saw paintings and sculptures from renowned artists across different eras and cultures. One gallery displayed antique musical instruments like harpsichords, sitars, and didgeridoos. In the technology wing, we got to see how everything from simple machines to early computers evolved over time. There were even some hands-on exhibits where we could try controlling a model steam engine and Morse code machine. After hours of exploring exhibits and soaking up so much history, we were starting to feel a bit overwhelmed. Our feet were aching and our brains felt full. We slowly worked our way back to the main lobby and museum gift shop. As a memento from our day, I selected a reproduction of an ancient Egyptian amulet while my friends picked out postcards and a poster of vintage locomotives. Before leaving, we took a moment to sit on a bench and look back at the grand entry hall that had first impressed us when we arrived. It was hard to believe the entire day had been spent inside this one building, learning about different times and cultures. Our visit to the museum had been an enlightening glimpse into the past. We learned so many new things and saw artifacts and exhibits we had only read about in textbooks before. It was a day full of discovery and adventure. As we left the museum, tired but fulfilled, we knew we would return again to explore more of its treasures. There is always more to learn and discover, and the museum is a place where history comes alive through its amazing collections. I can't wait until our next visit.